Welcome to Decades of Horror, the 1980s.
Bummer. I forgot my crystal ball. Just a little psychic humor. I don't really have a crystal ball. Okay.
This is episode 243, recorded October 4th, 2023.
Gruesome Magazine.
Bummer.
So you have cats playing with your balloon, or what's the deal?
Oh, I can't get rid of this stupid balloon.
Wait, did you get the balloon for the cats?
Oh no, that's a terrible idea. No. This was
right.
like, it's something from my wife at her place of employment.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, no, it's
Cool. Okay, this is Decades of Horror, the 1980s. My name is Jeff Mohr, and this podcast is about horror films released between 1980 and 1989. Each episode, my co-host Bill Mulligan, Crystal Cleveland, and Chad Hunt and I will tackle another classic or not so classic film from this radical, gory, influential, and gruesome decade. Joining me tonight is Crystal Cleveland, the Living Dead Girl, and co-host of Gruesome Magazine podcast. How you doing, Crystal?
I'm great. It is. We're already, days into October now, and so this is fun. This is good stuff.
It is. I've been watching movies. There's a lot of good movies available online right now. So
yeah, there is.
Plus, I bought a bunch of Italian spaghetti westerns from Arrow, so I'm having fun with that too.
nice.
Okay, wait. How many movies do you own, Jeff? Go. You don't know. You don't.
Well,
know,
if I had to guess, I don't know.
A lot.
800 maybe.
800.
Oh my Lanta! Wow, that's awesome.
That's great.
That's a great collection.
Well, like I told Chad, and actually, where's that feedback? That feedback will be on the 70s. I can tell you super quickly here because I actually keep a list so I don't buy stuff. Oh, I'm sorry, smart. 900.
Oh.
Ooh, even better. That's awesome.
Most of them though are older. It's like
it's cool.
Shout Factory or somebody will do their out of print, or somebody else will do their out of print, and I go look at them and go, well, let's see, are any of these classic era 70s or 80s? Yes, okay, and then I buy them at like half price, and sooner or later we do them.
Walmart has movies, really good movies in their Halloween section for good prices. If anyone out there is looking to add to your collection, Walmart in the stores, they have cool little sleeves and stuff. I like cheap movies because I'm cheap. So.
I told Chad I spent my life being, my wife and I spent our life being fairly thrifty.
Yeah.
Didn't buy stuff we didn't need, didn't spend money, didn't buy, go out to eat, whatever that stuff is. And now that I'm retired, I am kind of like
making up for lost time.
Good.
Like Lou Costello in Who's on First? I don't give a damn.
That's right.
Yeah. So I buy what I want to. Linda, pretty much, she's much more thrifty than I am still, but she buys stuff that she wouldn't.
Yeah, that's good.
We go
I'm the exact opposite because I'm horrible with money. So, you're way smarter than me. I'm like, I want it, so I got it.
Well, the other thing is I feel like I'm behind you guys who've been I've been a lifelong horror fan, but I didn't spend much money on it. I didn't go to cons. I didn't, I did video stores and that kind of stuff is how I did it. So now
you can enjoy it.
Right.
I just love the extras, the features and that stuff, commentaries, all that jazz. So, all righty. Well, enough of that. Also with us is Bill Mulligan, writer, director, special effects guru, and co-host of Decades for the 1970s, all around nice guy, and an author.
Where it is. There you go. There you go. That's what I like to see.
That's right. Raum. For those of you only listening, it's Raum. Raum. Esper by name. Actually, just order from Amazon. Red Raum.
It includes lawyers and demons, which makes it hard to know who the bad guys are.
Oh, yeah. I know who.
My apology to lawyers and demons, I guess.
You know what? I've never actually had a bad experience with a demon, so
yeah. Okay. Okay.
Mm.
Unfortunately, Chad Hunt cannot be with us, but I have it on good authority that he will be back for our next episode. So,
Yay!
Fired up about that. He's just got a lot going on.
Yep.
And don't forget, Decades of Horror and Gruesome Magazine are partnering with Play Now Media on several of their channels. Decades of Horror of the 70s and the 80s are on Wicked Horror TV.
Yay.
So check that out. Lots of good stuff there. I've watched today, actually. I watched the Blood Splattered Bride. Yes.
That's easy for you to say.
Which was amazingly good, actually.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Spanish horror from that time was pretty
sharp. One of our listeners asked us about that. They gave us a scene that we didn't recognize and couldn't figure out what it was. And then he came back and said he found it someplace else. And that's what it was. So, yes, there is a hand sticking up from the sand on the beach with a ring on it.
That was so obscure, though.
Mm-hmm.
So on this podcast, we do details. We give a few details about the film we're going to cover, first impressions, taglines, and then we kind of take off just talking in general about the cast, the filmmakers, etc. Goofy scenes, stuff like that. So our topic tonight is Witchboard, 1986, barely 1986. Written and directed by Kevin Tenney. The cast includes Tawny Kitaen, Todd Allen, Stephen Nichols, Kathleen Wilhoit, Burke Burns. Production company is Paragon Arts International, and it also listed Blue Rider Pictures as executive producer. I don't know why that was in their filming locations. It was filmed in California, in Big Bear Valley, Big Bear Lake, San Francisco, and LA. It was filmed in 1985, and it had a limited release in the U.S. December 31st, 1986, which gives it its 1986 release date. Mm-hmm. But the countrywide distribution was March 13th, 1987. The budget is estimated to be $2 million, and the domestic box office was a little over $7.3 million. And I just couldn't help but put because, a lot of movies, the foreign titles are just the foreign translation of the same title. But these were different. So Die Hexenfalle in Germany, it was The Witch Trap. Erdernogen in Denmark, Is There Anybody? I don't quite get that one. Mm-hmm. And I know I'm not pronouncing these right, but Noiduta Impera in Finland, A Vicious Circle. Haxkittel in Sweden, The Witch's Cauldron. Demoni Jatek in Hungary, Demon Game. And let's see, Polish was Diabelska Plansa, Devil's Board. And in Portuguese, Espírito Assassino, The Killer Spirit. I don't know why, but that just surprised me that there were so many different versions of that. And the synopsis.
The Witch's Cauldron. That one is the only one I'm like, Okay, sorry.
Where does that come from? Yeah. Well, or the Witch Trap. I mean, they call it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Witchboard is kind of a strange title.
But that makes sense, since it's technically a board, and like Bill pointed out, switchboard where you contact, and
maybe that's just an American term that so when the joke wouldn't translate.
The synopsis is: when his girlfriend becomes dangerously obsessed with a ghost she contacted using a Ouija board, Jim reluctantly joins forces with her ex, his own estranged childhood best friend, to identify and exorcise the evil spirit.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And I believe that whole thing was one sentence.
Wow.
Commas and hyphens and all kinds of stuff.
Good for them.
And dashes. Mm-hmm. And our picture here is when they start using the Ouija board.
Yep. No good will come of that.
Nope.
Never does. And apparently there's new rules now because this whole idea of having to say goodbye is ever even brought up. So, all right, well, let's do first impressions here for Witchboard. So, this was Crystal's pick.
So I saw this movie as a kid. I don't remember when, but I was in love with Tawny Kitaen. Like, I love Tawny Kitaen. I think, unfortunately, she's passed away now. But
oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And right? Am I wrong?
I believe you.
Why is
No,
Jeff making
you.
that face? Why is Jeff making that face? I'm like, wait, I'm pretty sure. Now I'm gonna feel really bad if she hasn't, but I'm pretty sure. But
2021. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There we go. I knew it was recently.
She couldn't have been that old. 60? Wow.
Yeah. But she had some rough stuff, but I haven't seen it in forever. And I just barely caught a bit of it on Shudder, like I mentioned last time. And I was like, we've got to do this again. And watching this again, wow. I still loved it. Don't get me wrong. I totally loved it. I like the story. I like the whole idea of it. It's kind of fun and silly and kooky, but what the hell with her boyfriend? I hate him. I don't remember. I'm like, ew, I like the ex way more than the boy. I'm like, he's just a pain in the ass and he's a troublemaker. And like, I don't like him like that. That's super weird to me, but I feel like the movie, I mean, it's actually got a cohesive story. It's shot well. I mean, the acting is good. This is good for an 80s movie, but also the budget was, pretty decent at $2 million, like you said, or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I still found this movie enjoyable. And I totally still think that Tawny Kitaen obviously is like so beautiful. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I liked it. And they made obviously sequels to this. The second one is horrible. It's so bad. But yeah, I like this. It had Mickey Dolenz' daughter in it.
Oh,
Amy Dolenz or something like that. I just remember it was like a sequel? Monkey's. Okay. Yeah, Monkey's daughter. So yeah, that's such a wild thing to know.
It is.
But yeah, so I enjoyed it. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing. This isn't like a stellar piece of art, but it's cool. It's an enjoyable film. I mean, it's a little bit slower than what I remember, but I like how they walk you through how her whole thing goes through this whole like stages of possession. So cool. Yeah.
All righty. Bill Mulligan, how about you?
I saw it for the first time yesterday.
Yay.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's just one of those ones that kind of slipped past my radar. And I was pleasantly surprised. It's very 80s.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about Tawny Kitaen's hair, which is very 80s. But she's good in this. And again, she's someone who didn't really sort of register. I remember the White Snake videos.
Yes, that's what.
Yeah, and that's where she got her fame and all. And she was fine in this. She was likable. Okay, so the guys, I didn't like either of the guys. Well, I mean, okay, so the ex-boyfriend really seems like a jerk in the opening scenes. Like he's just being just a jerk. And then, so you want to root for the boyfriend, but there's not a lot going on there either. And then it becomes this sort of really, she kind of takes a back seat and it becomes a kind of bromance between these two former friends. And I saw something where people were like, oh, this is an icon in queer cinema and everything. It's like, no, not really.
No,
there's nothing going on there. People look for something in everything. It's just,
but see, that's the problem. Why can't two guys just be friends and love one another without it being
and that's
like,
the thing is, I mean, nowadays people get angry if you say, yeah, I think you're seeing something that isn't there, because they're standing these people, and you've even heard of cases where the actors get yelled at by the fans because they don't agree with that interpretation. People are very entitled these days. But what I'm saying is, it's actually pretty interesting more than most movies, the fact that these guys have a history, and so that gives it something. There's more. This is again another one of those films that I think is better than it needs to be. And as a result, it was more successful than they expected it to be. I mean, they just tossed this out there to make a little money before they sent it right to video or whatever. And it did better than they thought. And then they released it and it turned a nice little profit. They did a good job with it. I feel like if it was made again, they could ramp it up a little bit. Like you say, there are some slow sections and there's not a lot going on, but I like the characters enough that I was with them to see where this was going. I wish that the big bad had been bigger and badder.
Yeah.
But it's really it's not a bad film. And my wife enjoyed watching this one. And let's face it, lately, a lot of the films we watch, she's like, oh, you guys are really scraping the bottom of the barrel here. It's like, listen, we did all the obvious good ones. Now it's hit or miss. And this was more hit than miss. I think it's enjoyable. It still holds up. There's a couple of good shocks. I actually was surprised when the one guy got killed by drywall.
Yeah.
I said, whoa, rewind that. I got to watch that again.
A bunch of drywall. Yeah.
And also one of the deaths by hatchet was also kind of came out of the blue. It's like, wow, I didn't think that guy was going to live. And then, he did. So yeah, it had a few good shocks and everything. And it was nice seeing Rosemary. Listen, I'm so old. I used to watch the Dick Van Dyke Show when it was practically new. And Rosemary was I've always been a big fan of hers. And that was just kind of a nice little unexpected surprise to see her show up. That woman started when she was 4 and died when she was like in her 90s or something. So I think she must hold the record for the longest career in show business. She was the lady who was amazing, actually.
The landlord. Yeah.
The landlord.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was like, wait, who was that? Okay. Sorry.
She was one of the comedy writers on the Dick Van Dyke Show in the 60s.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Her and the other guy.
Morar Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Great show.
I was hoping that they had, because she did have a great. I'll check it out later. But thanks, Bill.
Sure.
Yeah, I was glad you said something about that. I had pulled a picture up just in case, but I had not seen this either. So once again, Crystal knocks us out.
I'm glad.
I don't know why. Just title didn't necessarily appeal to me, I guess, and. But I was kind of surprised by this. I thought it was a pretty good story. I liked the development of the bromance, so to speak. Because part of it was this guy Jim's, getting past his being an asshole, I guess. And other part of it was getting his friend Brandon to get past his jealousy over Linda, Tawny Kitaen's character. So, but I kind of enjoyed it, and I liked the way it developed right along the way, and the relationships kind of developed and changed, and we see Tawny change, and then you realize what's going on there. And I haven't seen much that she's in, but I thought she did a really good job.
Oh, is it?
It's
taglines?
It is kind of time for one of those things, but Jeff doesn't have his ducks in a row. It is now time for
Taglines with Chad Bill.
Chad Bill. It's like Brundlefly.
Yeah.
And this is how they managed to make a 3-to-1 return, or 3.5 to 1 return on this investment. Right.
That's right. With great taglines. And they got a mess of them. So these must be really good. Okay, here we go. Taglines for Witchboard. Oh, no, they just had so many. They just didn't know which one to pick. That's how good they are. Tagline number 1. This game could be fatal. Witchboard. Don't play it alone.
See, that one totally works for me. I don't have a single problem with that. Okay, that's great.
And it tells what's going on with the film.
Yeah, although I don't really think of Ouija boards as a game. Green Ghost.
It is a
was
game, though. It's
Is it?
Hasbro. Hasbro makes Ouija boards, so it's
Really?
it is absolutely
It's
sold,
sold
as a
in the game section in
Mm-hmm. Yep.
toy stores and Targets
Fine.
and stuff.
Okay, fine. Mousetrap
used
was a
to be.
game. No one ever
Well,
played the game.
I mean, like a Ouija board's not real. I hate to disappoint you all, but it is a game. It is a game. I literally will keep Ouija boards all around me. I will play them all alone. I will promise you that it is just not real.
So you've never had the little, what do they call that? The planchette.
Well, I
You
will
never had
tell
that
you.
move around?
No, I will tell you though. I did play with the Ouija board. So I had Ouija boards when I was like 12 because I'm a really messed up kid. And I played it with my friend one night, and my mom woke me up the next day. I swear to God, this happened. And she's like, "What have y'all been doing? And why are there are all these spirits around my house?"
Yikes.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. I
Chris.
was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That goes straight into the fireplace if that were me. Boy. Well, okay. Here is tagline number 2 for Witchboard. It's more than just a game.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
there. That's for Bill. There you go.
Yeah,
See?
yeah. It's
Mhm.
not just a game, it's an adventure.
Oh,
Number 3.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah. I see. How come
Mhm.
I'm not being asked for these things? Seduction, entrapment, possession. Don't
Okay.
play it alone. Yeah, because
Oh,
I
okay.
mean,
Stuff.
seduction alone is no fun at all. You're not doing it right. Well, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, number 4. Oh, this goes on for a while. The game ends. The terror begins.
Okay.
Yeah. Generic.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Okay. I think they just went one line too long here. When you open the door to the unknown, there's no telling who will drop in or who will drop dead. See?
Okay.
See,
Yeah,
they
that
should've
last
had
part
that.
is they should have stopped it because that
Who
was
will
actually
drop-
like,
yeah, that was fine. Who will
Yeah.
drop in? Yeah. Or who will
Yeah.
drop dead? Oh,
and
no,
that actually
stop,
makes
stop.
sense, and it goes
Yeah.
with the movie, and it's very
Yep,
mm,
that they
mm,
should have had more confidence in their own. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, tagline number whatever. Witchboard. Who knows who will drop in to play?
Oh God,
Kids next door, and I hate them. They're
that
terrible.
sounds childish. Actually,
That does, yeah. And then this one, which I really think came from a different movie. Pray for survival till dawn.
Absolutely no. That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
That's an embarrassment and a travesty.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, what the hell did that have to do with anything?
Yep.
Exactly. That's poop.
Yep. Should have quit while they were ahead. And that's
Yep.
taglines.
With Bill
That's,
Chad.
Chad Bill. Bill Chad. Chad Bill.
Tagline.
Chad Bill.
with
Bill Chad.
Chad.
Yeah.
If you combine
Character
Chad
of
and
Chad
Billy,
was
you
played
get,
by Bill Mulligan.
yeah, you get chill.
Chill. Hey.
Chill,
That's
yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on.
Moving
to,
on rapidly.
Some posters.
Yeah, let's see what we got here.
And that's, there's a lot on this poster.
Yep.
Well, who's that dude?
That's
the
the
bad guy.
That's Mal Fader.
Mal Fader, who's got a great name, but just looks like a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Mal
Yeah.
Fader should have horns or white eyes or something
do I feel
scary.
He's
like-
the guy
Fader's-
that's pretending to be David that was the serial
Yeah.
killer in the 20s.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm like
and
cheese
we
and
see a
rice.
couple flashes of him in the.
He looks super spooky there, though. He looks like a Aleister Crowley.
Well,
Yeah.
he's holding a flashlight under his chin.
Right, which is as they do. And we have the axe, and we have the board, and we got some.
And
red
we have a
smoke,
bunch of
so,
taglines. There's like 4 or 5 taglines there. So.
Yeah.
And then
See, I like
There's
that
that
one. It's
one.
nice and moody.
Oh, that's neat. But who is that?
Oh,
That's
well,
definitely
supposed
not
to
Tawny
be-
Kitaen.
well,
Well,
no, she
it
wasn't
is a
available
painting.
for the poster. But
They
needs
should
more
have just
help.
put a wig on her, though. Like that.
Yeah,
hair-
right.
Come on.
seduction, entrapment, possession.
Don't play it alone.
it's more than just a game. All right. And finally,
Juego
ooh.
Diabolico.
I did like that.
Diabolico.
See, I didn't even have that one in there. I don't think.
Diabolico.
Yeah, I like the hands coming out through the board and warping that.
It is.
Cool. It's neat.
That is kind of cool. That's a neat art.
It's so wild, like how they just get something completely different. Because I'm like, well, yeah, I'll buy it. Shoot.
Well, and for the whole first part of the movie until they show up with an axe, it's really his two tools and one hatchet that's got a hammer on one side and the.
Fair enough. Yep.
But anyway. All right. Well, this is directed.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
That's all. That's it for the posters. This is directed by Kevin Tenney,
who did more than I knew.
Yeah, me too.
And the only one I think I've seen is Night of the Demons.
Of course, but Braindead looks kind of cool.
A mind is a terrible thing to eat, or something like that.
To taste.
I've seen Cellar on lists a lot, but I've never picked it.
Braindead. Pinocchio's. I feel like I've seen Pinocchio's Revenge, y'all. I think I probably have. Because I have a thing about
that seems like something you would have watched. Yeah.
Puppets, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
If I remember correctly, though, wasn't good.
Yeah.
I thought there was another one. Well,
Night of the Demons.
He also directed Witchboard too.
Right.
Strange.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. And Witch Trap.
Witch Trap? Is that? I don't remember that.
It's parapsychologists try to make an inn haunted by an evil witch's ghost, save for guests.
That's okay.
And we use the same font, and it almost looks like the same guy on the poster.
So it might be like a same universe type thing or something.
Yeah, that's possible.
I think you're right. Anyway, all right. Well, that surprised me too, because what the heck? Night of the Demons.
Yeah, this is. I mean, and I kind of like the fact that he's stuck with the genre stuff for the most part. That's cool.
He produced a bunch of stuff too.
Good.
So, yes. So, what about the direction here? I mean, I thought it was
fine.
Well done.
It doesn't scream super low budget. There's camera movement. It's well photographed. It's it's a solid production. The sound was good. Everything it's doing well. I don't think there's a whole lot of story there, but yeah, this is we say classic or not so classic. This is in the middle. I wouldn't call it a great classic, but it's definitely not a bad film. It's an enjoyable watch. And if you're doing your 30 days of Halloween, you're probably not going to, this is worth putting into
that, actually.
Stick it into the rotation. It's yeah.
And I'm not watching. Liked it.
There was some interesting kills. I mean,
yeah.
Like you said, when the drywall falls on the guy, I thought the hatchet was going to slide off the roof and like land on his head or neck or something.
That would have made more sense.
Well, I did get nervous watching this guy where he's using the hatchet as a hammer. And he keeps so the sharp point is going behind him. It's like you're going to stab someone in the head with that, and that detective is going to arrest you.
Well, it's an interesting concept, but I seriously doubt there's very many construction workers that use that for a hammer.
Yeah, I wouldn't hope not.
And in fact, now they'd all use pneumatic hammers or nail guns.
Oh,
so, but yeah, creative, and they both had one. Him and his coworker too. So, and then so that one, and then the his friend Brandon when he gets the axe to the head out there in the.
Oh my God! Actually, it was kind of sad, right? And then he's like, he's so upset. I was like, that's like,
yeah.
Well, help me out here, because. So, what part of I didn't understand what state of life or death he was in that his hand would come out of the water and
Yeah.
clutch him.
My wife
And
was
then when
wondering
he pulls
about
him
that
out,
too.
he's dead.
It's like, yeah. So he
I
like,
kept expecting him to show up in the hospital with his head bandaged or something.
Well,
yeah.
I mean,
That
it's a
didn't happen.
movie. It's just
Yeah.
it was meant to be spooky. That's I think
Yeah.
pretty much all. Yeah, you know, sometimes you just have to go with it. Just go with it.
Yeah.
Don't question. You go shush.
Don't question.
Well, and here's Tawny.
Look at
and
that.
Boy, does she have the hair.
Look
Yep.
at that hair. Man,
Mhm.
she's got enough hair for 3 women.
Well, hairspray was very popular.
80s,
Oh.
80s hair. Yep.
Because
Come
I have
on,
a ton of hair, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to make it look that big because it's ridiculous. And it is,
Puts a hole
not-
in the ozone layer. Yeah.
yeah, it's just not. Look at that top one. Can you imagine? She would have made an amazing beehive. Like you could see the beginnings of how, because look how easy her hair teases really well.
Yeah.
You can tell it's like, she's
Yeah.
hot. Like she's,
she-
food-
and
she's
the thing is-
so pretty.
She really should have
Yeah.
done more because I was always when I heard the name, I just thought, oh yeah, the White Snake model. I don't expect much from actresses who are mostly known for MTV roles and everything. And they're usually in crappy movies and they give unimpressive performances. She was likable for someone as beautiful as she is. She didn't get the glamour thing. You know, it felt like a real person. She felt like
Yep,
she was portraying a
agree.
real person. There was good chemistry going on there.
She did. She played a nice person.
Mhm.
Right.
That until she was being affected by the spirit.
Mhm.
Right. And she started cussing it. I think
Right.
That was funny. That was funny too.
And that was a
Like-
weird. Yeah, you're right. This is where I was with Crystal. I wasn't liking this guy. Okay,
I
so
know.
his friend gets
Like,
killed. He's in a bed. He comes home and all he seems to care about is, hey, since when did you cuss
She's
or anything? It's like,
cussing. Yeah.
okay,
It's like,
dude,
dude, sit
chill.
and spin. Sit and spin, mister.
Oh, see,
Remember
if you did that
one?
if you did that to Crystal, you'd hear some real cussing. You'd
Oh,
learn a few
God.
new words.
Oh, God.
Well, but he says
Yeah.
something. It sounds really weird when he first says it, but then he follows it up by, the worst word I've heard you say is shucks or something like that
Yeah.
up until now. So
And, okay, so I'm just going to be honest with you. I can't stand people like that. If the worst word that you've said is shucks and darn and you don't drink, don't smoke, just
Sandra
sorry.
D.
I have no way to relate to you in any way, shape, or form. Please go to
These
a nunnery.
These are
Get
people
thee
who
to
haven't.
a nunnery.
Yeah, they've never accidentally slammed their hand in a car door.
I'm like, no, that's sweet. That doesn't make someone a good person, though, too. Because I will tell you that I have known some people that outwardly express that, and they tend to be
Right.
the worst people
Mm.
at heart.
Yeah.
The worst.
yeah, my oldest son's football coach was also a Sunday school teacher. But he'd
That's
come home
fun.
from football practice and say, I wish he'd learned some new words, meaning
Mhm.
swear words, because
Yeah.
he was kind of notorious for that. So anyway,
I always think of the mayor from Buffy. You know, that the guy's got the
Oh,
shucks
yeah.
at it. Yeah, he was great at that. Yeah.
well,
But
I
anyway,
noticed-
she's very good in this. I actually felt a little bad for her in the nude scene because it was so obviously tacked on just to get a nude scene.
Just to be,
But
yeah.
Admittedly, of all the people in this movie, she's the only one I was the least bit interested in seeing nude. So I guess they chose well.
and at the same time, it actually worked.
Sure.
It was part of the story.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it wasn't, gratuitous or, it was sort of the angle it was shot at.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It wasn't humanoids from the deep. I mean, it was
No.
fairly tastefully done, but
and it wasn't blood splattered bride either.
oh well, geez.
Bloods.
Spanish
Ladder.
horror. from
Oh,
the
there's
70s.
there's the two young ladies in that movie.
Oh yeah.
Can't wait to be walking around with her
Yep.
or whoever wrote it. Couldn't wait to get them walking around.
Couldn't wait. Yeah.
Well, it's a takeoff of Camilla.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Loosely
That's
based,
interesting.
very loosely.
Yeah.
I do feel bad seeing, you're right that she had died, and she did have some demons, personal demons of her own,
Right.
which is unfortunate. It's unfortunate. So,
well, it's
happens too
interesting that
often
they
in this
said.
business.
I thought it was interesting that they said her like died from some heart condition or something, but then also listed and these like 6 drugs that were in her system might have contributed. I don't.
I didn't know it was that bad.
But I understand. I understand that struggle. She grew up like she was. Didn't I see she dated the guitarist from Rat in high school?
Oh wow!
Wow, that's young.
And so she did a video.
Holy
with them
Linda Blair
in 1984. Well, I think they went to high school together.
Oh, okay, that's better then. It's not Rick
She
Springfield.
did this movie before she did the Whitesnake videos, or at least before they were released, anyway.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Because they're listed as 87. But I liked her. I love her. She looked great. She had a very wholesome, friendly, natural way about her. And the when she started to blow up and turned into the evil woman with the black suit and the gangster hat, whatever that deal was.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. It's ridiculous. It's so 80s. It's so come on.
And she wears it to the funeral of the guy that gets killed by the drywall.
Look at her though. Look how hot she looks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like,
and she was very good in Bachelor Party. She had, she showed a comedic gift there. It just feels like she should have been a bigger thing, but who knows?
Well,
who knows?
Yeah, I'm sure there were multiple issues with,
Well, she was married to somebody from Whitesnake for a few years, and then she was married to a baseball player for like 5 years. Had some kids, but anyway, that top picture too. She's sitting there, and Mr. Brandon, the estranged friend of her boyfriend Jim, is pretty handsy with her there, sitting on the couch for somebody that.
I don't feel that way. I don't feel like that is a sexual touch at all. No, I feel like that's a protective touch because my dad would do that to me.
Okay. But dad is an ex-boyfriend, I think, who has a conflict with the current boyfriend is what.
But the boyfriend is a keck. He and the boyfriend's he started it. No, dude, you're white trash and you started it. Let's just be real. Like, you're super angry and mean to him. He was like, oh, you brought this. Oh, I bet you would. Oh, it's like, are you 2? Are you 2? I couldn't stand him.
Well,
could not stand him.
But later on, when they start to get along, he's kind of like saying the same things, but they're smiling at each other instead. It's still like 2-year-old jokes or high school jokes. But
well, that could be if you've been a friend, someone. These guys were friends from childhood, which means you probably spent a good part of your time trashing each other because that's what friends do, at least guys anyway.
Right.
And then, but then when things get serious, suddenly that takes on an edge. And
well, you got to think too, like technically he did date her first. Right. And then I would not want my friend to date my ex. I think that's so come on. I mean, they're like, I think that the ex gets getting a little bit too much. Because I'd be pissed too. I mean, come on. I mean,
that's the bro code. That is the bro code. You're not supposed to date the exes of your, but
I would never do that to one of my friends. But I also see that he didn't know, like he said specifically, he didn't know. Okay, fine. But still, it happened, and that's not cool, dude. Not cool.
That's right.
I hate when you say stuff like that.
What?
I hate when you say stuff like that, Crystal, and it reminds me of something I did.
But you know what? It's the mark.
But you were young. You were a kid.
Oh, I was. I was in college, and my dorm roommate. I really, really disliked my dorm roommate, and I really, really liked his girlfriend.
Oh well, that's not.
And I called her up one night and asked. I called her up one night and asked her out, and she goes, "Jeff, I'm dating your roommate."
Yeah, but I don't
I
like it.
was very
We're enemies.
inebriated too, so I don't know.
Oh, well.
But that's not your friend.
No.
Like,
oh, he
he's
was
a
not my friend.
roommate.
You're right.
No,
So
no.
that's
See, that's the thing.
different.
You're
I
totally
never
allowed.
did that to a friend.
You're
Yeah.
totally
Yeah.
allowed to date the ex of your enemy. In fact, that's kind of a slick move right there. Yeah.
That's different. Uh-huh.
Guess what?
Okay.
One more reason to hate me.
What's funny is
I just want to say
I
this
think
is a
you should
sign.
have a fight.
This
Go
is a
ahead.
sign of a pretty good movie that we're arguing about these characters that we're talking about
Yes.
the motive. So that's something we don't often do in these low budget horror movies. Like they did that because that's what the movie did.
And
So
they
here,
had
you know.
they both had an arc because obviously
Yeah.
by the end I liked the boyfriend or whatever. Obviously I liked the ex pretty much the whole time. And I'm
Mhm.
sorry, like if it were me, I would have never dated this
Yeah.
freaking
Also,
if I would never date a dude who if I had a party and he told me he wasn't going to say anything, would be jabbing at yes. That is
Yeah,
not acceptable. You sit there and look pretty, okay? You sit there and you look pretty.
That's
That's
right.
your job. That's your job.
That
Okay.
could
You're
You
gonna
don't
make
need
me
to
a
be-
sandwich or something.
Yeah. I don't need any back chatter. Like
Back
that
Well, we
pimp
also,
hand is strong. Just kidding.
Tawny is not the only female lead that we like.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
her.
She was
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah.
I love her.
She's I don't actually know the actress's name at all, but she always played weird characters, and
And she
dig her.
played a lot of them. She is in, you know, I
Yes.
looked up her IMDb. It's like, holy crap, she was in everything.
And I think where she is remembered from is ER, probably, or where
I
I
never saw ER.
okay.
but-
Well, I remember visualizing her, and I kept thinking, where have I seen her? I could picture her, and the picture of her that I have in my head is what she uses for her IMDb profile. But when I look through the movies, I'm trying to find out what it was. Did I see?
Let's see, yeah.
And it's
Now.
hard to come up with those ones. She did, you know, like one episode of Yellowstone. I don't know where that was. But somewhere down there in ER, I think she had like 100 episodes in ER, and I know we watched that.
Dear God, she's been in all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
Holy
that's
crazy.
moly. Yeah, like cheese and rice.
Oh, in plain
She was in
sight.
Gilmore Girls. I
Yeah.
love Gilmore Girls. Charmed, one episode though, just one, but that's
Yeah, I mean, she
still
did a lot. I
decent.
mean, she is a working actress, and she's worked quite a bit. And not
Oh, I'm
playing.
sorry.
She's so distinctive in this movie. You get
Yep.
the feeling, well, that's her character, but no, she didn't just go to all these shows and play this character. This character is a well created, well portrayed, quirky character that pretty much dominates the movie from when she walks in the door to
She
when
does.
when
She's
she goes out the window.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
And, you
and
really like her. Like
Yeah,
she's so
yeah.
likable. Yep.
I was wrong. I got to correct that. Should never say this off the top of my head. ER 19 episodes. So
Oh wow.
she had a recurring role. Most of
What
these
part
are
did she
one
play at
episodes.
ER? I was
The character is Chloe something. I just scrolled past it again. I hate
I didn't remember her, but I'm not that good with
Chloe
faces.
Lewis. But yeah, I think I just must have seen her in so many
see-
different things. She did some voices too. She 64 episodes of an animated series called Pepper Ann, which
Now, can you tell?
Oh,
How do you
yeah.
pronounce her last name?
What's her? What is her
I
last
would have
name?
said Hoyt, but you know,
Let's
Will
see.
Hoyt? Kathleen Wilhoit. Okay.
but
yeah,
I
that's Willow. Yeah.
not necessarily how she did it.
No.
Oh, she was in Fire in the Sky.
oh yeah,
which is-
there's one.
Freaking
That-
phenomenal.
That might be.
Okay, Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Oh heck yeah,
Yeah.
she plays one of the.
Yep.
I just watched that, so that's another one.
Yeah, that's such a big one.
Oh,
But
yeah.
she's awesome in this. She
Mhm.
just plays such a quirky character.
She has a really good voice.
quirky without being annoying,
Right.
which is not
Yeah.
always easy to pull off. A lot of times these quirky characters come in, it's like, I cannot wait for this person to
Yep.
die, which they almost inevitably will. But no, I liked her. And And I was sorry when she got dropped off at her house and the camera followed her into the house. I'm like,
And
oh,
you knew. I
gosh,
know.
that's it.
This
No
is not
happy
good.
end for
Plus,
you, dear.
She's busy telling Brandon how something's
It didn't
wrong
feel like
here.
a 10-year-old. Yeah.
This was much worse.
Yeah.
In fact, she says something to him about it's a good thing that he volunteered to leave, because if there would have been an actual exorcism, it would have been a tough one.
Right.
Okay.
Knows too much to live.
No, so she was great, and she has a memorable death as well. Gets thrown out the window and lands on a.
Why do they have fences like that? Like,
well, I thought maybe it was a sundial.
I have one like that.
I thought it was like
fence?
a sundial with a triangular piece. It was like stainless steel with a sharp.
Okay, mine's just wood. But I mean, I have a pointed fence, and it does make me think,
Yeah, don't go jumping on any windows.
Yeah.
The thing she landed on looked like a reverse guillotine. It was nasty.
Yeah, I just thought it looked like a
sundial makes sense. That
triangular piece of metal with the point sticking up and boom right through the chest. And oh boy, she had her throat cut before that anyway. So
oh yeah.
She was great. She was great. So the evil demon. This is I don't think that top picture was from this movie, was it?
No.
I don't know. Well, maybe it was. I don't know.
I mean, maybe it was a publicity pick. I don't know. I mean,
it looks so ridiculous, really.
I don't know what else this guy has been in.
J.P. Lubson.
Oh.
And I'm going to look right now. Oh, he was in Witch Trap.
Oh, maybe that's what that's from.
But he plays a different character's name, but he's still the evil person, I guess.
Well, look at that
we
face.
made $5 million. Let's do this again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a scary face.
And that looks like the face from Witch Trap.
Okay, well,
from the poster, but yeah. So you just,
you know what? I think you're right. I see. Yeah.
But
absolutely,
yeah. This guy was a serial killer that killed 9 people by chopping them up with an axe until they caught him in 1930 or something, or took him out. I don't know. And guess what? He just happened to have lived in the house that Jim and Linda are living in.
Oh, okay. That makes sense, actually. Though that's what they would pick up with. That's why when he said like that the spirit was attached to the board, I'm like, that's interesting, because obviously they picked up what was in the house, not.
Well, then she was telling him that he was the portal, but was that just to get him to kill himself? That was an interesting scene too, I thought. He's getting ready to shoot her.
God, he looks so scary. Like, truly.
Yeah.
Now, didn't I read somewhere that house was used in a number of horror movies and things? But I can't find it now. I guess it wasn't in the workflowy, but I could have sworn I read somewhere that house has been used in quite a few, at least the exterior.
I believe it.
Now, yeah.
It's a beautiful home.
Yeah, it's great. So I mean, yeah, he's fine, but he's in the end. I mean, we're kind of building up that there's a ultimate evil here and everything, and I guess I just expected something a little more demonic.
Oh,
doesn't
okay? That's fair. Yeah, sure.
I mean, look, if that face popped out at me at night, I'd have a heart attack and drop dead. Sure. Especially if he's holding an axe. In fact, you don't even have to look that scary. If you're holding an axe, you're instantly scary. But I was just expecting something a little creepier.
So this was shot. The working title was Ouija. And so my first experience with these were my cousins had a Ouija board. And I think I was probably like 10 or 12 or something. And we went over there to mess around with it. But we always called it a Ouija board, which is what Rosemary calls it, Ouija. So I don't know. I didn't have Brandon there to correct me.
I don't think it matters. I mean, like, I call it a Ouija, but that doesn't mean that that's correct. I mean,
Well, it seems like it
whatever.
ought to be Ouija, but
Yeah.
anyway.
Hey, you know who they could have cast as the bad guy? Because he occasionally dropped in while they were filming.
Who?
Tawny's boyfriend at the time, O.J. Simpson.
Oh yeah. I forgot she dated him.
Yes, while he was married to Nicole Sampson.
Yeah.
Simpson. Yeah, oh God.
Yeah.
That's really sad, actually.
All right, let's put this up. We've talked about the bromance.
The bromance.
Now they're
That is so
working together.
sad, though. Look at that.
Yeah,
I
look at
was
him
like,
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I'm glad that they became friends though. Before that's good.
It is, you point out a good thing, Crystal. They did have an arc. They did have an arc, and you sort of see it here. They're enemies, then they're forced to come together for the woman they both love, and then they become the Hardy Boys, doing research and everything, and then
Yeah.
Well,
Because they were really
and
close. That hurts more, and that's why you're more angry when someone you're
make that-
close to.
they make that big point of, or Brandon makes that big point that Jim never cries. I've never seen him cry, and he won't let his emotions out, and he cries when Brandon dies.
You didn't even get to see it. Oh, wow.
Well, I know Steve Nichols, who played Brandon, from something else.
Oh.
What? Uh-oh.
He played a character named Patch on Days of Our Lives.
Oh my God, yes.
Wow.
Well, I don't know that, but I've seen that character. Like I know that. I've seen that image or like
So
that
why do they
scene.
call him Patch?
Yeah, that's go figure.
That is hilarious.
But he
Dear
did a bunch of
God.
stuff. He also did some General Hospital, and he did another one. I forget what it was.
Man, if I were him, I'd wear the patch on the left eye Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and on the right eye Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Well, you
could
never know.
ruin your
You never
vision
know.
otherwise. I mean, like really, that could ruin your vision because it'll strengthen one eye and weaken the other.
Not if you alternate them.
Well, if you alternate them, that'll be okay. But I doubt
when I
they
was
like that.
In fact, I had to wear a patch on my glasses
Did you?
when I was a kid. Yeah.
I was just going to say, when I was a
had
kid, there was always
lazy
at least
eye.
one or two kids who had the lazy eye, and they had to wear the patch and everything. That was pretty cool. Okay, I've been teaching now for almost 30 years. There's never been a kid with a lazy
doesn't
eye.
work.
Did that just go away?
Yeah, what they do now is they do surgery and shorten the muscle on one of the eyes to pull the eye into place. Like my brother had the same thing, and he got the eye surgery. So like 5 years later, it was a totally different thing.
See, things were different back then. Nah, we're gonna cover
why
up
I
your
still
good eye,
have-
and we're gonna make the weak eye work. Kids
If
like
I'm-
running into trees and tripping over everything.
Yeah, and that's why I still have. If I'm looking to the side or something, my one eye will just sort of
Go off on
its own.
Nope.
Got its
That's
own
so
agenda.
unfortunate. I'm sorry. That sucks.
Well,
That sucks.
You
It's
got
one
that
of those
one
things.
Marty Feldman eye going off on its own.
I always sit on the right side of a theater so that I have to look slightly left because that's the way my eye goes when it's tired.
Oh,
So that
that's
I'm
interesting.
not anyway.
That's actually kind of clever.
Kind of an engineer thing to do, probably.
Okay, if we ever take a road trip together, Jeff is not driving.
Mm-mm.
Oh, I quit. I'm pretty quick at getting out of driving. I can tell when my eyes are getting tired.
Yeah, that's good.
And I don't see double. Well, I do see double, but they're on top of each other. They're not
Oh dear God.
side by side.
That sounds horrible. Well, both
way worse.
ways sounds horrible. I don't know.
Well, I wanted to pull this up just because we were talking about her, but there's Rosemary.
Rosemary,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I do know who she is. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is her as a little baby Rose, I think they called
Look
her.
at that. Yes. Little baby Rose. My God, that's amazing. She's also one of those people. She looked, whatever age she was when she was on the Dick Van Dyke Show, that's pretty much the age she took.
She
to the
looked that
grave.
way for like 40,
forever.
30 years after that. Yeah.
Amazing.
So it was kind of cool. It's a weird little thing for her to do in this movie.
Yeah.
She knew somebody maybe. All righty. Well, what else do we need to say here?
Check it out. It's probably something a lot of people haven't really seen, and it's worth the gamble.
Which shocks me because I really, I only had access to so many horror movies, and I remember it was seemed kind of popular. But
I think it must have been. It probably was because Tawny Kitaen, those videos were released in '87, but this movie didn't go out, countrywide until March '87. So that could have been writing.
Oh, good timing. Yeah.
You know what I think part of it is. I mean, I enjoyed the movie. It doesn't have that iconic shot or that iconic scene that people are like, oh yeah, Witchboard. That's the one with blah blah blah. It doesn't have something like that, And a lot of horror movies, there's that one shot or scene or something that you can sort of remember, and it's not like that. But it's still, I think, definitely worthwhile. Definitely check it out. You got 31 days of October.
Yep.
Squeeze in a little Witchboard somewhere in there. If you haven't seen it before. Would
Mm-hmm.
we steer you wrong? Would we lie to you?
Yes.
Well, you would.
No.
Everything.
We wouldn't lie. We just have bad taste sometimes.
Okay. Well, okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
That's
well,
really
I can see why people wouldn't like this, but I think there's nothing offensive about it, and it's fairly well done. It's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't have huge shocks, but it does have some building tension with the creature, and when it starts to possess Tawny's character. Alrighty.
Honestly, it's just a good movie. Yeah. Okay. So are we doing feedback?
Let's go to feedback. And
look at all this feedback. Dang.
We have feedback. We got a lot of feedback. All right. Ooh. First up, episode 241, Alligator. This is a new commenter, I believe. It's either Joe, I don't know.
Joe Lashadali.
Yeah.
Or Joel
Ashadali.
Oh, Joel.
Or Joel A. Shadali.
Joe or Joel.
Oh,
we appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's Joel.
Okay.
But I don't know about the A. Shadali. Ooh, God, I got to know now. I got to know. He's got to tell us.
You got to write another letter to us, Joel. Or Joel, whoever you may be.
I'm like, what is it we have to know?
Yeah, that's one of the things they quit putting the YouTube comments. They used to have the person's name. Now it's the username or whatever that is. So it's hard to tell sometimes. So who wants to read that? And we'll get started.
I'll read it.
Go ahead, Bill.
Okay, Joe or Joel. My family's finished basement was the meeting place for me and all my friends starting in the late 1970s. In our mid-teens, playing our first video games and watching the craziest movies from our corner mom-and-pop video stores. We consumed endless amounts of goofy, gory content. It was down in that basement where I continued the love of film my father planted in me. Movies like this and Piranha were a couple of our faves. It was great revisiting this classic. That, boy, you take me back.
Yeah.
I can totally relate to what you're talking about.
Oh, I love that. Everybody, hopefully.
Yeah. That's what we call a great childhood.
Yes, when if the thing I remember my dad for is westerns and playing catch in the front yard, playing baseball catch. He never ever turned me down to play catch. It didn't matter.
Dear God, y'all had good childhoods. Let's see, what do I remember from my father? Nothing.
Aww.
Literally, I know it's okay. Seriously, that sounds very sad.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm good. I promise.
Appreciate it.
But now you have implanted your love for horror into your children's brains.
Oh yes, absolutely. Well, I don't. You know what's funny is they say they don't like it too. Is what's so funny, and then they always watch it, and then they know what has happened. I'm like, how do you know what happened in this? Well, whatever. And I'm like, see, plant a seed and it grows. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, the next one is from this person has emailed us before, so I know their name is Fraser Rice.
Well, Wealth
Actually.
Fraser Rice.
Fraser Rice. Yeah.
Dear God, that's a long one.
So go ahead, Crystal.
Okay. Good writing and great use of the Jaws template. Good acting. Yeah, I agree with that totally. Great acting, especially the terrific Robert Forster.
Yeah.
Totally. I rewatched it recently on a lark and loved the subversive humor that skewers plenty of sacred cows. That's cute. I had forgotten much of the Spielberg like doing less or doing more with less. Ingenuity is in this movie, an underrated classic with the best wedding scene in horror history. I know, like it really is.
It's pretty good. It is pretty
It's
good.
a shockingly good movie. Yeah.
Or the wedding scene though. I don't know if we really commented on that in particular.
Yeah, I don't think we did. I don't think we.
I mean,
talked
we
about it
did,
at all.
but it's a great scene. And Robert Forster, I'm on the look for Robert Forster movies. Did you know Kevin Tenney directed a Robert Forster movie?
Oh, really?
Called
Peacekeeper.
Peacekeeper.
Yeah.
And I looked it up, and it's not streaming anywhere. So I may be able to find it on YouTube. It's just not on any of the streaming services. All right, let's see. I'll take this one. It's fairly short from Chad White on Alligator.
Yay.
The part where those boys make that little boy walk the plank. Actually, it was a diving board, but that scene traumatized me. No night swimming for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was pretty shocking.
That scene didn't really fit the movie though. Like, and so Chad, it shocked you and it was out of place and it was meant to be terrifying. Really.
Yeah. He just slipped into the swimming pool there for a bit.
Yep.
Yeah. Horrible.
Okay, Bill, here's one from Lone Wolf.
Lone Wolf.
On Alligator.
I've seen so many animal attack horror films such as Piranha, Orca, Razorback, Nightwing, Arachnophobia, and Squirm. I've even scoured the planet to find obscure stuff such as the dreaded TV film Strays about murderous house cats. Oh, I gotta watch that. But for my money, Alligator just might actually be the best of the Jaws ripoffs. Great memories of watching it with my dad. See, another good memory here. I'm from Louisiana, so in a way, it felt like my personal Jaws. Having John Sayles as the script guy was like having Paul McCartney write songs for you. This was my introduction to the late Robert Forster and Henry Silva. Robin Riker is the cutest redhead outside of Crystal, of course.
That's why Lone Wolf's a jam. What? Thank you. I love you.
And the Gator was awesome to say the least. Fantastic movie that ended up creating its own clones such as Lake Placid and Crawl.
I know, and those were both great films.
Yeah, they were.
Actually, I own Crawl. That's
that
much.
Yeah, you're talking about the recent one, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lone Wolf. And now one from Gregory Crosby. Bill.
All right. And who was it that inspired Jeff to pick the greatness of Alligator this time? It's a total mystery. When Jerry Chandler or some such begs for Frankenstein's Island Castle of Blood-Sucking Freaks 3 or some such, many derisive shout-outs descend upon their heads. But when I suggest a true 80s classic, what do I get? Bupkis.
I thought I mentioned that he had suggested it, but maybe I just
think
couldn't
you
remember.
did not.
I think more than one person had suggested it. So.
This scar will never heal.
Gregory?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mea culpa.
There you are. Ooh, fancy French words.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, there you go. That's
I
better.
forgot to mention.
You sure
That's
are.
better.
I got to start keeping a list of suggestions and put the names by it. So I can remember.
That's a good idea, actually.
That's a great idea. I'd volunteer, but I'm totally irresponsible.
Yeah, me too.
Continuing, Gregory, after giving you your just desserts, seriously, excellent episode, even if no one gave a shout out to stand-up comedian Jack Carter as the hapless mayor. The scene where Dean Jagger is trying to explain his barbecue technique and Carter keeps interrupting and getting death stares is priceless.
Okay, yeah.
It is, yeah.
Also, I have to give Carter a shout out as he came up with my all-time favorite joke about my hometown. Las Vegas is the only place where you can have a good time without actually enjoying yourself.
Oh, it's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Well, I remember Jack Carter being on lots of those late night talk shows. And variety shows doing bits. You know,
he was a raconteur. Yes,
Dean Martin and Dinah Shore and all. You know.
Dean Martin.
God, there used to be so many of those on.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Gregory, and my apologies. I don't know how to make it up. But anyway,
now I feel bad because now I have a feeling Jeff's going to be like thinking about this, and it's.
I will.
I know.
I'll be laying awake at
Yeah.
How can I fix
I'm
this?
sorry.
So now we have one from Dallas Nostromo.
Mm.
Crystal, you want to take that
Oh,
one?
yeah. Okay. Every time I think of Robert Forster, I think of the 1979 film, The Black Hole. Yep. Another film that tried to cash in on the Star Wars phenomenon, but it's a lot of fun. However, the ending is rather puzzling. Anyway, I know. I was sad to learn Forrester passed away in 2019. He was a good actor. Totally agree. It's very sad, actually. God, I think he still had a lot he could have done. That
Yeah.
voice, that face.
Mhm.
Love listening to you all talk about Alligator. It's a fun movie and another Jaws inspired film. But let me tell you, it's not just a Jaws inspired film. It's one of the best Jaws inspired films. So
Yeah.
many movies have tried to do it and just failed. For some reason, they really did such a great job with recreating that whole atmosphere in
They
this
did.
one.
They
Mhm.
did.
Thank you, Dallas.
Appreciate it, Dallas, as always. Episode 242, Fear No Evil, which just hit the streets 2 days ago.
And look, we've
This
already got
one's
all this
from-
commentary. Wow.
This one's from B. Gabe. I think it's Bill Gabriel, I'm guessing. And we mentioned you being Rojo Diablo or Diablo Rojo.
Yeah, Diablo Rojo.
And I said, wasn't there some product? And he says Red Devil was a spicy candy.
Well,
Yep.
that's me to a T. I'm a
Yeah,
spicy candy.
She is a
too.
spicy
Yep.
candy. Yep.
Now, this is a good one from our buddy Ralph Miller. Bill, you want to take that one?
Sure. Ralph says Richard J. Silverthorne, who created the makeup effects and portrayed the demon, was a grad student at USC when I was an undergrad film student myself. He created foam latex leper makeup appliances for a student film called Frost and Fire,
That
and I
sounds
recalled him showing off the actor's plaster life cast, complete with eyebrow hairs. Oops,
Ow.
I've been there. Another student and I made a life cast of Richard for this movie, and lucky for him, we didn't strip out his eyebrows in the process. His career was cut short when he died not long after working on Fear No Evil. Well, that's unfortunate. Anarchy in the UK by the Sex Pistols was a
Yes.
particularly apt choice for the soundtrack of this film. Yes, it was. I had that first album, and I played it very loud.
Okay.
And here
And
we go.
now, our last feedback, but probably equal
Dear-
to everything we've read before. This is from
dear
Jerry Chandler on Fear
God
No Evil.
in
And
heaven
I'm
above.
going to read this because this
Good.
is
Okay.
comments about the two of you. He
Oh,
made a comment
boy.
about me too. Wow, Fear No Evil. Been a long time since I saw this one. Might have to correct that. It was a staple of my mid-'80s video rental store horror diet, and I remember always enjoying it. It also seemed a bit of a strange one, thanks to the low-budget nature of it, and Frank LaLogia is still early in his career. His style, the look, the odd dialogue bits, the subject matter, and the effects made it feel like some of the Spanish or Italian horror films pretending to be American horror films that were on the VHS rental shelves, but missing something they had. I remember digging the soundtrack as well. Got to check it out again now that it's streaming. Now, regarding Crystal's pick for the next film and the conversation
Oh,
around
no.
that. One, Witchboard is still okay. Watched it again a few months ago. It mostly holds together. It just had a rough start because it seemed almost trendy to bash it since Tawny Kitaen was in it. And everyone was like, the White Steak Video Girl is going to try to act. But I'll talk more about the film after you do your show on it. This is about number 2. Oh my God, there are 2 of them. I don't pick on Bill about missing the giant glowing 900,000 watt neon sign pointing out that alienation was alienation,
Seems obvious.
but I probably should. I won't pick
Yeah.
on Crystal about it either, but
because she's cute.
OMG, the stunned body language and more than anything else, the facial expressions and hand motions as recognition dawned. When Bill said he got to see what he looked like when Sada was explaining it to him, he likely didn't know how close he probably was to being completely right. I've literally seen that entire gamut of expressions, hand motions, and shocked body language on Bill once before. It was in 2010 in Gettysburg at, I think, the very last horror find.
I think
Bill
so.
was paneling, judging a makeup contest.
Mhm.
About 20 minutes into the whole thing, his co-panelist judge, a woman named Gigi, who had been talking about various things she and her husband Reggie had learned and done over the years, for some at that point, made a reference that made Bill's mind kick into gear. His entire body went slack, his jaw dropped, and he then proceeded to go through every single facial expression Crystal made before walking up to her to shake her hand and saying, "You're that Gigi Bannister. I didn't even realize it. Such an honor to meet you."
There was
Crystal's-
Reggie
Yeah.
Bannister from Phantasm.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
wow.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Crystal's looks and body language so perfectly resembled Bill's back then that it slammed that memory back into my head, and I was just like,
Oh, he's got a
OMG.
memory like a freaking elephant.
There
I
are
swear.
literally two of them, and they're both doing the same podcasts and conventions together.
But here's the thing with that. Like, I went through so much in my head when Bill said that. I was like, oh my God, of course it's Alien Nation. How could I not have understood that it's so obvious? Like, there's so much. There was like a lot happening in my head, and I had to actually like go through this whole, because I was like, look, okay, I don't want to like toot my own horn, but I'm not generally a naive or, person who doesn't understand the joke. So when something that's simple is in my face and I totally missed it, I'm like, how did I allow this to happen?
No, I just chalk it up to I'm an idiot. So,
No, see.
Well, I'm not going to say, Crystal, we just did that Gruesome Magazine podcast on VHS 85. You had a couple
There was
of
a
those
few things.
in that,
Oh, yeah. There's been a whole, look, let me tell you, if this is me.
Oh,
I have a plate, okay? And so many things can fit on the plate. If you try to put even one more thing on the plate, shit falls off the plate. Okay, that's just the way it happens. Yeah. So it's
that sounds like
this. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
You ain't getting more. That's the way it goes.
That's what Linda says when I ask her stuff. She goes, "I don't remember that."
Yeah.
If there's only so much room in your head.
Yep.
Something else comes along, I got to kick something out. So
that's right.
Yep. And I like, it's just the truth. I'm like I will tell people, I'm like, oh, that's sweet. I'm not going to remember that. And I really won't remember that. I'm like, I have too much going on right now. And I've got to remember this for this and that. And so that's secondary.
I found that I freed up a lot of good hard drive space by forgetting all 3 years of calculus from college.
Oh God, that stuff was forgot as soon as I freaking finished the course.
That's right.
And I had to relearn it 24 years later. So anyway, appreciate all the comments. Jerry, I know I'm going to leave somebody out. Jerry and Joe,
Dallas,
Lone Wolf, Chad,
Ralph,
Gregory.
Yeah, for God's sakes, don't forget Gregory.
And Fraser Rice. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So Joel.
Yep.
Joel.
Thank you, everybody. We really appreciate the comments. And look, we just went through all of them. So please leave comments on the Gruesome Magazine YouTube channel, or you can send them to feedback@gruesomemagazine.com. You can leave comments on Gruesome Magazine's H&R and DOH podcast Facebook group. There's some of these comments, all of these, everything we just read were in all of these places. So anyway, awesome. Also we do have a Patreon page, and if you contribute there, we do put out our Decades of Horror podcast. You get them a link to them anywhere from a week to 12 days before they go live. So that's why I think that's why some of the comments end up being so close to the date that they go live. But anyway, we appreciate that. It helps pay for equipment, servers, licensing, all that stuff. So anyway, and we could double Bill and Crystal's salary then too.
Ooh.
I'll just say right now,
that I'm like, your salary is double. Yeah. So that's it for this episode. But every 2 weeks, we'll be focusing on a specific film released between 1980 and 1989. Next up, this is sort of a out of order sort of Halloween pick. Not that it's just because it's Stephen King. Cujo, 1983.
Ooh.
Hills, yeah.
We end up referencing a lot, but we haven't done it. And I think maybe it wasn't streaming a lot. So make sure and join us for that.
Oh, yeah.
If for nothing else, the great Dee Wallace, maybe one of her best performances.
Cujo's like legitimately one of the scariest movies ever because it could be true.
That's right. It is.
And it's actually one of the Stephen King stories that I think the movie actually in some ways improved on the book. So
could be.
That's a beautiful thing.
It's been a long time since I read it. It's one of his first books for a long time that was shorter. He was sort of standardized at 400-page books, and then Cujo came out around 300 pages, which I don't know. Neither here nor there. So anyway, catch us again here in 2 weeks for another great horror movie of the 1980s, as only decades of horror can do it. Thanks a lot, Bill and Crystal.
Thanks.
Thank you.
This is fun.
This is fun. Yeah. Like we had a lot to say about this one.
That's right. That's right.
Say good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Gruesome Magazine.